Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Screen Chronicles. My name is Steve, and with me, as always, is Cobestone. Today, we are joined by our special guest. You likely know him as Lambert, also known as Lamb Chop, from Netflix's hit show, The Witcher. Today, we have on Paul Bullion on the Screen Chronicles.
Hey.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Doing well. Paul, we really loved season 2 of The Witcher. We loved it since season 1, but we thought season 2 added another level with the brotherly Witcher group at Kaer Morhen, and you were a huge part of that. What was it like to be part of that bro group?
Oh, it's great. I've always wanted to try my hand at a fantasy genre as an actor, and yeah, absolutely, it was great fun to be part of that. I mean, what a show to be part of. It was unreal. The title is so well known, and you know, Netflix really care about it, so all the detail was there, so it was brilliant.
How did you get involved? How did you get cast as Lambert?
So originally I didn't actually know that I was auditioning for The Witcher because it was all coded. I had to kind of do a kind of educated guess based on who the casting director was and what was going on in the scenes, because they change all the names of the characters, and they're kind of like almost like dummy sides as like side, because they knew that, you know, the chances of them leaking was quite high. So they're sides that aren't going to end up being in the show, but it's like it's got a similar energy to the characters. So but I kind of guessed that it was The Witcher I was auditioning for, and when I went for the recall, that's when I knew that it was Lambert that they were seeing me for. So yeah, I mean, ignorance is bliss, really. I think you don't get nervous when you're not 100% sure what you're auditioning for.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Now, were you a fan of any of the source material, like the video games or the books from The Witcher before this?
To be honest, I hadn't played the game before. I was very aware of it. You know, I don't think anybody on the planet can say that they haven't heard of The Witcher. Of
course.
I think I'd definitely like played it a couple of times very briefly, because a friend of mine is a massive gamer. So I was aware of what it was, definitely, and obviously as the audition process went along, and then when I got the part, I lived and breathed it. I was playing the game, I was reading the books, making sure that I could get every kind of ounce of information I could.
Backing it way up here for a second, how did you get into acting, though?
When I was a kid, I was quite hyper, and I think it was a way of just getting me out of the house on a Saturday afternoon. I used to go to this drama club at the local kind of community centre, and as I got older, I kind of just took it upon myself to take myself off and be creative at the weekends. Like, I suppose I've always had quite a creative mind, and I used to, you know, every kind of spare moment I had as a kid, I was like involving myself with different productions, whether it was at school or community theatre. And I did actually a lot of musical theatre, and I actually went off to London to train in musical theatre when I was 19. I went to drama school and did the musical theatre course at Arts Ed in London, and so my first couple of professional jobs out of college were actually musicals. I did Spamalot, the Monty Python.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I saw it on Broadway in New York.
Well, yeah, so much fun, and that was the first time I
laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the first time I carried a sword as an actor. and then
who did you play in Spamalot?
I was a swing, so I understudied like Lancelot, Bedivere, Patsy, you name it, I probably know.
Oh, you played them all. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was a great kind of learning curve, and for me, it was like an extension of my training, because I went straight from drama school into that. Did the UK tour. We went to Italy with it and Ireland, and
that's awesome.
And then I did Guys and Dolls, which is another, you know, famous musical, and it's a personal favourite of mine. And yeah, kind of that was my weird kind of backdoor into doing TV, really, because the casting director from that started working for a TV casting director, and then they suggested me for a tiny role in a BBC show. They're looking for somebody with a weathered face So I was like, there I am. I'm a shoo-in for that. So so I went in. I started doing just little parts here and there, and then building up a bit of screen time. And then 2014, I got like 3 episodes of Peaky Blinders,
which is one of my favorite shows, by the way.
Great. Well, I think I mean, for me, it was I became a fan of it when I finished on the show, and I still watch it today. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Got the last series coming out in February, I think it is.
Yeah, super excited.
I think the full length trailer is coming out tomorrow, New Year's Day.
Oh, sweet.
So I did that, and it was that job, Peaky Blinders, that made me kind of have the confidence to think, I could actually do this, because I was surrounded by brilliant actors like Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy, and I was doing scenes with all of them, and then you realise that they're proper creative people, and I was feeding off of that, and then I realised kind of how their work ethic, and I just got a real taste for it then, and I was like, okay, I want to pursue this, and I'm still open to doing theatre and things like that, but really as a 6'3" redhead, the opportunities in especially musicals, but in a lot of shows, like, it's quite a niche look, so that's why I kind of end up getting kind of pushed towards the warrior type parts.
You enjoy that though? Do you enjoy the warrior?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't want to be like a mutated monster hunter? It's you get a bit of the magic, you get the physical stuff, and especially in something like The Witcher. What I love about The Witcher is it's very funny as well. Like, a lot of fantasy shows are very stoic and very serious, and Witcher has that. But then I don't think it takes itself too seriously in that sense. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in it. It's a very light, colourful world, and I think Witch is almost quite aware of that, and the characters and the writing. I think it's that very kind of Eastern European, very Polish humour that I think the show captures very well.
And Lambert's a big part of that. He's always busting jokes. In Kaer Morhen in the Great Hall, which is pretty great.
You brought up being on Peaky Blinders. I'm only in season 1 right now, but Colby was sending me some clips of you, and you had this crazy stare down with Tom Hardy.
Can you talk I could see how your confidence would be juiced up after a stare down with Tom Hardy.
I was young. It was beginning of 2014 when I filmed that, so I would have been 25. Like, when I did it, so it was like my first kind of sizable acting role on screen, because I've done a few lines here and there, different things. And Shaheen Baig, brilliant casting director over here, she just always used to get me in for auditions. Like, I was auditioning well, but I wasn't landing anything. I think it was because I've always had an old face, even when I was young. So, like, I'd look old, but I didn't quite have the weight to carry somebody, a bit older. And I think Shaheen gave me that chance, and I'm grateful for it. And that was my first day on set. I had to stare down Tom Hardy.
Dang.
so it was good. It was good fun, and also very helpful actors as well. Like, they knew that I was new to it, and what better experience can you have than being there doing it, and it does fill you with confidence, and you just got to kind of trust in the people that put you there. I said that, bring it back to The Witcher, the same with the casting team and the creators of that. I can't go on set and second guess myself. Right. I did the audition. People have seen my tapes, the directors, the producers, they're in agreement. They want me to do the part. So I've got to go in and deliver what I did in the auditions and trust in that. Whereas, it's sometimes it'd be easy to get overwhelmed by it, but it was so much fun. And seeing, like, I think the similarities between Peaky and Witcher in terms of my experience on them, there was no ego on set.
That's awesome.
So, so the first thing, that Tom did when he came into the makeup trailer was, like, it gave me a hug and said, "Looking forward to working with you." And that was at the time. And at the time, I'm 25. I think I'd just seen him play Bane.
Oh my God!
And I'd seen Lawless. I thought Lawless was a fantastic project.
He sounds like Bane too in Peaky Blinders. Solomon. He like almost has the same voice. I mean, it's his voice, but like his deep.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But he's very good at what he does, and yeah, it was just the advice they were giving me. You know, it was again, like, I felt like it was an extension of my training, and you never stop learning. I learned so much on Witcher. You know, I'm now 33 years old, and you know, I'm still learning, and long may that continue.
That's awesome. Now, in Peaky Blinders, you did have a pretty awesome brawl scene in that nightclub. So we know you had some fighting experience prior to Witcher, but what kind of fight training did you have to do to get ready for Witcher?
I was just getting familiar with the sword again, because it had been a while since I'd done some sword work. But my friend Jonathan Holby, he runs a company called JH Fight, and he kind of like he does a lot of theatre work, but he does some film work as well. And he's like an armourer, so he works with like you know, with firearms and with weaponry, and he's very good at broadsword and other fight styles as well. So when I got the part, obviously I had to keep it under wraps. I wasn't allowed to say anything, because I think I got cast in the November. I don't think they did the announcement till like late February. So I was sitting in it for a while, and I just phoned my mate and said, "Oh, look, Jonathan, I've been cast in The Witcher," and he was like, "What?" Like he was buzzing for it. So he was like, "Well, let's get you trained up." So like, because I hadn't been holding the sword for a while, so every morning we'd go down to a park in Beckenham, which is in southeast London, and we'd like early morning get a cup of coffee, take these fake swords down, and just have a little play around in the park with these swords. And people would be people would be walking their dogs, and then just these two big grown men just like going out with swords. But no, it was great, and he was just getting me to, you know, the kind of signature stuff that you see, like getting used to doing the pirouettes and stuff, and different styles, and that was helpful. So then when I went to meet the stunt team on The Witcher in production, rather than having to do loads and loads of work with them, they just kind of saw that I was okay with the sword, and then it came about, you know, when it gets to the fight stuff, making sure that you can adjust quickly in the space, because things would often change. Obviously, it being in the safety of a rehearsal room and then stepping on set, two different things. So often you have to move and roll with the punches, you know.
Absolutely. And you get thrown through a table, I think.
The stunt team were unreal. Yeah. I mean, you read it and you go, "Oh, right, okay, how are they going to get that shot?" And then you just see like the stunt team have rigged up everything, and you know, it's incredible to see how they achieve those shots. And you know, and you know, you go, okay, going through the table is a split second on screen, but they spend a whole day doing it.
Sure.
It's a whole day, you know, and that's the detail. And sometimes I think that can sometimes get missed by people watching it. They, you know, thinking, "Oh, they do that, they move on." It's like the preparation just for a second is it's unreal. And that's how much they care. And totally. And they really do.
The end battle of season 2, when you're fighting with all the basilisks coming through, I'd imagine there was a lot of prep work for that, and there was a lot of CG creatures, right?
Oh, man.
How was that?
There's so much fun, because there's an interview that we did for the after show for Netflix, me and Yas and Kim, and we're talking about, they asked us about the basilisks again, and it was hilarious because, you know, you're trying to be all stoic, and you're all hero, you've got the wind machine going in your face. But because it's CGI, you're staring at a stuntman in spandex, full green spandex, and a foam head. And Yas did come out. Yas had a little nap in his trailer, because like they spent a long time like turning things around, making sure everything was safe. Yas had a little nap, and he came out, and he's kind of like a little bit half asleep. He comes in and he's like, "What the are they?" And then like and the stuntmen, I went, "No, they're the basilisks. That's what we're fighting." And he described them as looking like two huge green condoms.
Oh my God.
What the fuck kind of basilisks are those? I'll tell you after I kill them.
Which made me laugh. And then like, because and obviously like we're trying to be stoic, but again, what's great about that is like sometimes you'd be on set for like, by the time you arrive to the time you leave, you'd be there for like 14 hours.
Yeah, wow.
You get makeup, we're getting tested every day, with the
Sure.
making sure everything's safe. And you can't get through a day like that without humor. So it's it's spread, and that's how you get through the long days, because you're doing shot after shot after shot, and you've got to remember to laugh at yourself sometimes, and that's what we had, and especially in that sequence as well, when you've got wind machines, props, and and all that, things go wrong, and it's hilarious. We had wind machines blowing props into our faces. I remember there was extreme close-ups of Cohen. Yas playing Cohen and Kim playing Vesemir, and they had all the props guys under the tables, and they're throwing up bits of paper and like some foam, like soft pottery type stuff to give the effect of everything blowing across the room.
Wow!
It just one of the takes landed in Yas's face.
Oh.
Paper over his face, and he's trying to get it off, and then another bit lands in his face. Then you have to cut because everyone's just laughing.
Oh my God.
But that's the stuff, and the detail they go into again to achieve the shot. One shot can take a day. One shot can take 2 days. It's
Wow.
They want to get it right, and it's a beautiful thing about being part of a show like that.
When we watched season 2 here, we gave so much props to the special effects team. I mean, it looked really good this season with what they did, and also to the actors and the stunt team. To, I think, sometimes lining it up and making it look like you're actually fighting. Probably a challenge, but it looked pretty seamless. We thought
it's amazing how their brains work, because you've got the team, the special effects team, and they'll come up to you with like an iPad, like the applications that you can use now, and they've got this iPad, and they've got the room on it, and they'll hold it up and go, okay, so the basilisk's here, so you've got to imagine the tail's around here. So you've got to kind of take it in here, and if you strike here, you're striking its head, and then the tail's down there. So you've got to be aware of the tail maybe swinging round, so maybe have that in your movement. And it's just like, wow. It's all of that detail. So like you're trying to picture it, but because of the apps are so good now, but the way their brain works as well. So they'll be watching it and they'll step in and go, we need to change that a little bit, because we're trying to think if we can fit the basilisk in that way. We might have to change it around. We have the basilisk going that way. It's just really like mind blowing, and then they're always thinking about layers. Those people, and they think it's an art form in itself, the CGI, and that they really do make us look better.
That's awesome.
They make us look better, and the CGI in this series, and you've got to think as well, it's a TV show.
Sure.
And the way things are working now, like, TV shows are achieving things that the high budget films were doing like 10 years ago, but then exceeding that as well.
Totally.
You could go and watch, and we did. Obviously, the first episode for the premiere, we watched on the big screen in Leicester Square, and it feels at home there. I mean, wow. I wish that they could show the whole series at the cinema. Because awesome. the experience is absolutely sensational. Like it feels at home on the big screen.
That's what. Yeah, season 2, I think especially. I mean, the whole time I was just like, this looks like the CGI could have been taken from like Jurassic World or something. When
exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. And you think like how lucky are we, like, as consumers of the content, watching Netflix, like, and other streaming services, but Netflix, because they paid my wages last year.
Thanks,
Netflix. Watching Netflix and going like, wow, like this is like, it's literally like having cinema in my front room, and I think it's unreal. Like we get to watch all of that content, and it's only a good thing, I think, that other streaming services are popping up, because that creates more content, but also more jobs for everybody involved in the industry. So that's a brilliant thing, and sensational productions going on everywhere. So yeah, it's exciting
too, right? Competition.
Yeah, competition's healthy. It's healthy.
Yes. I'd say, like, to me, before I saw season 2 of The Witcher, I would say probably Disney Plus would probably have, as far as like the Mandalorian, Star Wars stuff, probably had the best effects in it. And I saw this and I was like, this is better, you know, as
Well,
far as like
yeah.
the creatures and stuff going.
It's awesome.
I mean, I'm not going to be biased, but like it's like
It's good.
But then like you know, you just know that other stream services are going to go, right, okay, we're going to play our hand now, and we've got this. And then,
Of course.
and then you know, and then Witcher's probably going to like up it again, season 3, and it's just I'm just excited to see where the industry is going to be in 10 years, because look how far it's come in the last 10 years.
You know, like holograms or something.
Yeah, it's going to be some mad stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's brilliant. Like I'm watching brilliant stuff on all platforms. But I'm kind of like at the moment like geeking out a bit, nostalgia, because I'm a proper 90s kid. I was born in 1988, so I grew up through the 90s.
Sure.
But I was like obsessed with films like The Karate Kid.
Oh yeah.
And my thing that I'm loving at the moment for nostalgia is Cobra Kai. And it's just
I haven't watched Cobra Kai yet.
It's great.
Well, they've just dropped season 4 today.
It did. It came out today.
Yeah, came out today. Like, so I absolutely like annihilated the first 3 seasons in the first lockdown, and then I've just moved to my new flat, and before going to the gym today, I smashed out the first 3 episodes of the new season.
Nice.
You like it? Is it good?
Yeah,
No spoilers.
yeah,
No spoilers.
it's the nostalgia for me. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
they have flashbacks to the films, and they link it all in. And you know, I think if you're a fan of the original films, you watch it and you kind of get a bit of a warm feeling, because you feel like I felt like that little 6-year-old when I was watching it the first time. You know.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Yes.
And speaking of like Karate Kid and unique styles of training somebody, Lambert and Ciri kind of have a cool connection in The Witcher when she's training. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your approach to those scenes when you're training Ciri.
I was very lucky, really, in the sense that again, like Freya, absolutely fantastic, but our relationship was quite similar in the sense of like we were quite competitive off the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was like kind of our humor. It was kind of like one-upmanship between us. So
Okay.
we kind of fed into it, and we used to. It caused us to corpse quite a bit when we were filming, because she would always say like, she would turn around to me and she'd say, Paul, there's no difference between you and your character. Because I'd do something and you know, it's on record. I found it hard to slice that dummy in half for the first few takes. Like, yeah, it just wouldn't break properly. It was rigged up so it
Sure.
would, you know, snap in two, but like it would like half slice and then it would just be dangling, and I'll turn around and Freya's just like her shoulders have gone and she's like full on laughing, and then she'd be like, right, better get it this time. I think it took me a fair few takes, and when I finally did it, she knew that the camera wasn't on her, so she was just freely laughing away and I had to keep a straight face. Yeah, I mean, she's very detailed and she really understands her character, and that's only helpful for everybody that she works with. And again, like another funny story we had is, you know, we thought it'd be funny to have a sour sweet eating competition.
Okay.
So I brought in the most sour sweets I could find on the internet. I'm sure there's a video of it somewhere.
Okay.
But I gave sweets to Freya, and we had basically, it was like who could get the most in their mouth.
Oh God.
And I was rubbish. I was like straight away, like I was like, my eyes were streaming. Yas, who plays Cohen, he was like choking, and then Freya was like this, just cheeks bulging. She was like, I've won. And then she went to set with a blue tongue.
Oh my God.
And the makeup department were like, who's been giving Freya these sweets? I don't think I was very popular that day with the makeup department. but yeah, no, it was great, because that whole sequence was brilliant. I'd, be instructing her to go and, do this, do that. And then like they'd be doing a shot where, she'll be falling off of the obstacle course or something. And I'll just look up and I'll just see Freya just getting on with it. She's in her harness and she's like swinging about and she's laughing and she's having a great time. And the stamina that she has is unreal. And she deserves all the admiration that she's getting, because she works so hard. And yeah, I mean, you can see, she's only going to go from strength to strength, and beyond Witcher, she's going to be, really is one to watch. She's incredible.
What we loved about those scenes too is how at first we thought you were just kind of being a dick to her, or at first, and we're like, oh wow, he's really going hard on her. And then the more you watch it, it's like she's responding to this. This is how he's motivating her. And we've, Steve and I were athletes. We both have had coaches that like work that way, that more of the tough love kind of thing than the, a lot of encouragement. Yeah. Is that how you looked at it too?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm very similar to that. I've got a bit of a sportsman mentality, and
sure.
For me, I used to be a competitive swimmer, and right. It wasn't about like going out and having fun. I was in the training pool 5:30 every morning before school. I'd be falling asleep in school. and then going back for more after school. That's how right. I work. In terms of Lambert, I kind of felt like with Lambert, he knows what he knows. And he likes to be familiar with his surroundings. So when he's in Caermoran and he's looking forward to having his brothers back for the winter, and suddenly there's this kind of this female energy that's just entered into his home. He's like, what's going on? Like, why have you brought this person? And he doesn't, he didn't want to be a Witcher, but he's good at it. I don't think anybody wanted to be a Witcher. It's not their choice. But he's very close to his brothers because of the shared experience. They are brothers through the fact that they've been through the same thing. Almost like, almost like a trauma from serving in war together. You have that unspoken bond. And then you've got what he sees as this little precious princess saying she wants to be a Witcher, and he's like, "Come on, then I'll show you what it's about." And he thinks that he can break her. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, I'll show you what being a Witch is about." Again, do it again, and then he expects her to give up. He expects her to give up, and right. The fact that she keeps going actually makes Lambert kind of put his guard down a bit, because the whole time he's like, "You're not one of us. You don't belong here. You belong in a castle. You're a princess, and you're not meant to be in our keep. You don't belong here." And then she gets back up again and again and again, and he can't help but be impressed. So it kind of like her actions is they're a challenge for Lambert to look at himself and be like, okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe I was wrong.
Respect.
Yeah. You can tell he won her over, or she won him over.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I remember, if you want to bring it back to the sportsman thing, like, it didn't matter what I'd say to my coach. Like, if I believed that I was meant to be the first pick for the 100-meter freestyle, if I said, like, put me, because I'd always be like, I'll be in reserve, or if somebody has too many events to swim, maybe I'd get the 100-meter and the other person will be doing the 50 and then maybe the relay, or, but I wanted that event in my own right. I wanted to represent my town in the 100-meter freestyle because I believe I had the power to do it. And so rather than like going on about it all the time, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to, next time I get my opportunity, I'm going to have to win that race. So I remember going to a swim meet when I was must have been about 13. And I went into the year group above. You swam, like, I think so. I was meant to be in the under 13s because I wasn't quite 13 at the time. But I swam in the under 14. So a lot of the boys in my race were a year older than me. And when you're that age, that's quite a lot. People develop quite quickly. But I had big feet and I had wide shoulders. So I was like, right, yeah, give it a go. And for whatever reason, the person that normally does 100-meter freestyle wasn't available. So I was put into the 100-meter freestyle and I won. I got a gold medal for the team. And I only won just, but I did really powerful last 25. And that's what I think, like, actions speak louder than words. I can keep trying to tell my coach, like, that I want to be the 100-meter freestyle swimmer of the team. Or I can just show them. And I think with Siri, it's like, I'm going to be so good that I can't be ignored, and that's what Siri does, and I love that about the character. And I think that's why a lot of people find her character very inspirational.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And that was
what sports do you guys play?
I played baseball and hockey.
Right. Great.
And
Steve.
I was football, American football.
Yep.
I just got into it over lockdown.
Yeah.
I was
Who's your
watching. I picked the Eagles.
Okay.
All right. PA. That's where I'm from, Pennsylvania.
He's from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more Pittsburgh, though. I'm a Steelers fan.
Oh, you're Steelers.
Yeah.
So there's a good friend of mine, one of the assistant producers on Witcher. Tara. She's from Pittsburgh, and I walked into set with this new jersey that I just bought. Had my name on the back. And it was the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. And she started like writing abuse on all my props. And
oh my god,
she was like, and on my cast chair, she was writing like Steelers and everything. Like, yeah. But I was watching the documentary where they follow all the American teams each series.
Wow.
It'll come to me in a minute.
Knocks? Is it Hard Knocks?
No, it was. I'll come to me in a bit, but they follow a different team each season to try and make the Super Bowl. And I was watching the Philadelphia Eagles, and they just seemed like my kind of people. And it was literally just watching it through this documentary and listening to the fans talk. I was like, yeah, man, I need to get myself over to Philadelphia.
I was just in Philly for a baseball game this past summer, and they take it seriously. Really? Oh yeah.
Okay, great.
Their fans are crazy.
Yeah.
They're known for that, though. They're known for nothing.
That's
exactly
All or Nothing's the name. All or Nothing's the name of the documentary.
Okay,
check it out.
Yeah,
I think it's on Amazon Prime. But they do. It's like they follow like Black Panthers, Eagles. I think they follow the Steelers for one series. Okay. And it's amazing. You got all access to everything. You're there with the board, and they're talking about what picks they want in the draft and all that. Like it's amazing.
Do you think you would have liked to play football if you had access to it?
Yeah, I mean, what I love about, from what I understand about how the American sports system works, is it opens opportunities for a lot of people, and I think it helps with a bit of. I mean, I don't really think. I think everything's so stacked for people. I mean, getting a bit political, but social mobility. It's very hard if you're born into if you're born into an area where opportunities are few and far between. Often it's always the sportsmen that are able to do something for their community, and I feel like in America that's more so. With the sports scholarships and if you're good and you show a talent at something, it can often be your ticket out of poverty, and that's very inspirational to see. I think I would have loved it because I'm very competitive as a person, and I think that's celebrated even more in the States. I think I was like the captain of my athletics team at you'd call it high school at my secondary school. I was a 200-meter runner, and then my events were high jump, long jump, and triple jump. And I turned into an animal when it came to competing. I was an absolute animal. But I find sport very inspirational, and from a young age, even when was it Sydney 2000, wasn't it? The Olympics in Sydney in 2000. Completely different, time zone. Like the events will be on when I'm meant to be in bed, but I'm 12 years old and I'll stay up all night and I'll be watching the athletics at 3 a.m. because I want to see it. And that's like now I do triathlon because that's my fit.
You did an Ironman. Did I see you did an Ironman?
I've done two.
Wow.
Nice. Do a third. Yeah. I want to do a third. But again, like now it's become about like trying to work out what my body's limits are. And I don't think I think Ironman is pretty ruthless on the old body. Like you feel it for a few days afterwards, but I still don't think I've found my absolute limit. So like I'm thinking of a few other things I could try. But yeah, in terms of American sports, I mean, I would have loved to have tried American football. I played rugby when I was a teenager. I know it's a bit different, but we don't wear pads.
I was gonna say I didn't try
Rugby's
out for
tougher,
rugby.
I
I was
think.
like, that looks crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. But again, like there's sports that I tried over here, but they never took off because we didn't have the programs for them. But like I tried basketball and I liked it, but we didn't really have the facilities or the programs for that. But again, I'm not the right build for basketball really. But I think hockey I would have liked. Hockey's great. But yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, I think it would be American football for me. But yeah, again, I mean, over here, I'm a big follower of football. But you call it soccer. But yeah, I mean,
Who's your team?
Love it. A team called Queen's Park Rangers, based in West London, in Shepherd's Bush. They're for me, they are the best team in the world. But at times, it feels like hard work to support them. Sometimes it's like heartbreak every weekend. But what I tell you, what I do like. We'll get back to the acting in a minute.
That's fine.
Go for it.
With the American sports, which I find really interesting, considering as most of America is like making your own way and becoming your own person and all that.
Yeah.
It's so fair when it comes to sport, because it's like if you finish bottom, you get first pick, right, in the draft.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like it's completely opposite to what you think would happen. Like you think like, well, we dominate, we're going to pick again.
Well, that's what we're hoping for with the Steelers this year. We're hoping, we don't just get completely decimated where we look terrible, but we also we want to do bad enough that we get a first pick.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because does there come a point in the season where you go, we might as well just not try anymore?
So baseball's having that issue. Having that issue. One of the Baltimore Orioles, they think, just threw away their season to get draft picks. They think they're just putting the worst team on the field to lose as many games as possible. And MLB's trying to fix that, make sure it doesn't happen.
It's an interesting, because how can you prove that, for one? Because they've got, their defense will be, no, we're really that bad.
It's not like the players on the field are throwing the game, but so it's hard to prove.
Can you imagine as a player, you're really trying, but you're having such a bad game that people think that you're being bad on purpose. That's the ultimate thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just an off day for me. It's just an off day.
Yeah.
Have you heard there's also the Black Sox scandal where a team actually threw the championship because of betting?
Really?
Yeah.
I just learned about
1919.
1990.
1919.
Oh, 1919.
A long time ago. Yeah.
I just learned this year what point shaving was.
Mm-hmm.
Where
point
shaving. So there's a documentary about it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Topical. College basketball. It happens professionally as well, but college basketball players, young prospects, were getting big payouts by illegal betting firms to basically keep the score within a certain kind of gap. So they'll be like, okay, you can win, but only win by 5 points. So again, they'll get 5 points ahead and then just throw a basket and they'll get in tens of thousands of dollars, which again, I think going I know they make so much money. All these universities, all these colleges make so much money from their student athletes. I do think a way of deterring that kind of activity is to actually maybe give them a bit of a kickback, a bit of money.
That's the debate. That's the debate for sure. It's teams do make money off these individuals. So
So that's the thing. So these students are they can barely feed themselves, and then they're offered tens of thousands of pounds to make sure they throw a couple of baskets. That's what point shaving is. It's basically controlling the score of the game.
And I feel like betting has become more normalized here too, with FanDuel, DraftKings Sportsbook.
Your
fingertips now too.
Oh yeah, obviously it can add a bit of spice to something as long as you don't go out of control with it.
It's true.
But yeah, when you're actually got an inside job and an illegal betting firm paying people to throw games, I think that's when it gets a bit dodgy.
There's been some crazy documentaries in sports lately. like The Last Dance. I don't know if you saw that with the Chicago
Yeah, loved it.
Bulls.
Absolutely loved it. It was one of the best documentaries
Oh my
I think
God.
ever made.
What's Rodman, and then I loved the coach's like Native American philosophies. I never knew that about him. I knew he was a great coach,
but also just like talk about the sportsman mentality. That's Michael Jordan built all this stuff. Like he's like, if you don't want to play, don't play. Like it's just like
I love how they're just like, let Rodman go to Las Vegas a few days, get it out of his system, and we'll go grab him.
Yeah,
and he plays the best he's ever played.
Yeah, and he was like, why would you play cards with the cleaner for like a few dollars? And he goes, because it's about having their money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. He's a winner. That's it's in his DNA. But yeah,
that's crazy.
Was there competition on set between you guys as the Witchers then too? I noticed you two, you're very in shape as well. I noticed that. So I was like, we've got Superman, we've got Paul.
That's your motivation, isn't it? Really, you're going into a show, you're going to be on screen with Superman. You've got to make sure that you keep in shape. So yeah, absolutely. But we would discuss kind of like workout regimes, and Henry would just subtly drop in that he was out doing physio at 4:30 in the morning. So just to try, his work ethic's just insane. He would get up at 4:30 because he had his hamstring injury. So he'd get up at 4:30, he'd have physio on that. Then he would work out. Then he would come to set, that's why he is where he is in his career. It's work ethic's got, a big part of it, to play. And yeah, we'll discuss workout regimes and it's obviously useful. He's done his fair share of working out, but so it's competition wise. I'd like to say that I'd won an arm wrestle, but with COVID I don't think random arm wrestles around set would have been allowed.
Yeah, what was it like filming in COVID times here? Did it create a lot of challenges?
Obviously it created a huge delay initially because I think they were about 4 weeks into production. I was doing my screen tests, and then I was about to film my first scene, and the American producers had to fly back to America because they were going to close the borders. Wow. So they made the decision to close set down, and then we went into lockdown nationally anyway, as did the rest of the world. And it was kind of just that feeling of like, what is going on? It felt like the world was ending. We went into lockdown in London, in the UK. And I think I was allowed out of the house for an hour a day. So I'd go out and I'd literally just run for an hour. Like I was like a big golden lab that needed his exercise. If I didn't,
a chance to use the bathroom, and
if I didn't get out and have my run, I was like, I'd start chewing stuff. It was just like I needed to tire myself out. So I was doing that, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what's happening. We had this, and then everything was kind of from Netflix. They were brilliant. They just said, look, we need to make things safe. We will return. And in my head, I was like, maybe it would be a couple of months. People will stay in. And, my lifetime, there's not been this. So I was like, it's going to pass. And then, 7 months later.
I know. At first, I remember it was like 2 weeks. And then it was like a month. Yeah, exactly. Just kept going and going.
Yeah. And so we got 6 weeks notice from Netflix to say that we're going back. And all I'd been doing was like baking. Anyone that follows me on social media, I see like I was just endlessly baking different types of bread, cinnamon buns, lemon drizzle cake.
Oh, nice.
But then I'd go out and run, and I'd be like, that's fine. I'm running every day anyway. But then I was like, that's not really that active, really, because you're confined to your house. You run for an hour. You're not really getting that many steps in, compared to walking around on a 14-hour day or whatever. So I was like, 6 weeks, okay. Then I got my PT on board, and she got me into the shape of my life in 6 weeks. And that was just like, basically lift this, stop baking cakes. It was like, so then
that's our job.
I did go back to set, and And I was in better shape than when we went into lockdown. That was my plan. I wanted to go back, in better shape, and that's what happened. And there was that moment where, Henry, he was like, "Oh, you're in great shape, dude." And as he walked away, it was hard not to be like, "Yeah, Superman just said I'm in good shape."
Wow. Wow. That's like the ego boost to the century right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then I definitely upped my weight on the deadlift that night.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Curious question.
I bet you have Steve. As far as on set though, I'm giving you best hair and beard though for Out of the Witcher.
Oh really?
Yes.
I mean, I'll take that. Again, that was a lockdown thing because my hair was like not really. It was the longest I'd ever had it in my life before the lockdown. It was kind of like a bit like a mushroom head, really.
I think I saw a picture.
Would
there have been a picture of that?
Yeah, there would have been. I might have shared one. Maybe I haven't. Maybe. Maybe I'll put one out.
I saw one with you wearing the costume, but your hair was much shorter.
Oh, really? Might have been.
Maybe.
I put one out, but yeah. Anyway, I went into lockdown, and because my character hadn't filmed anything yet, I just let my hair grow. Because I couldn't get it cut anyway because all the hairdressers and the barbers were closed. So the head of Deb, lovely lady, she head of makeup, and she wanted some photos of me when we were going back. We're given 6 weeks notice. They put all the safety measures in place, and she was like, "Have some photos of what you look like after the lockdown." And I sent photos of me looking all homeless, and she loved it. She was like, "Wow, okay, yeah, keep that." And that's why Lambert ended up looking like he looked like, because I just didn't shave or cut my hair for 7 months. Obviously they had to give me a tidy up when I went in, because I did look like I'd been locked in my house for 7 months, so they had to give it a bit of a tidy up. But yeah, that's why Lambert looks the way he looks, and I got through that awkward stage of anyone tries to grow their hair. My hair is really thick, so it kind of goes out and then falls under its own weight. Yeah,
you got to get through that stage. Yeah,
absolutely.
Did you have any input into your own costume?
Yeah, I got to pick. So I think it was my first. Yeah, with Lucinda. She's again amazing lady. Details she goes into. She was the first person I met after I got the job. I accepted the offer, and then I went to Angels, which is the big kind of costume place. They do all the big TV stuff, and just all these different costumes line. I got to pick bits and try different bits on, and we kind of settled on this. And I just saw the collar, like the kind of leather collar on that jacket, and I was like, "Oh, I want Lambert to wear that." So yeah, in that sense, and she was like, "What kind of colours do you see him wearing?" And I just kind of thought, earthy colours for someone like that. For any witch, are like, if they're stalking out in the middle of a cornfield or wherever, like right. They want to blend in. So I wanted earthy colours, browns and greens, and everything was a collaboration, which is brilliant. But obviously, Lucinda being brilliant, she's got an eye for the detail, and yeah, love it.
Yeah, you got to blend in if you're ever going to go kill a field hand, right?
Yeah, that's it. Or threaten to kill a field hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you had some input into the costume.
Also, I think it's important, especially like that you're comfortable in your costume. It's especially for like a witch, and you got to be able to fight in it as well. You've got to be comfortable.
True. And how long did it take for those black eyes to wear off after that last episode? Days, weeks, or?
Yeah, they were quite the massive lens. Really, it was.
You did wear the contacts and everything, or?
Sorry.
Did you wear contacts for that?
Yeah. All contacts. So yeah, they're huge. They're like they take up your whole eye, and they have to fog into your eye.
Oh.
And you can only have them in for like 2-3 hours at a time. Then they have to take them out, and you have to have a break because it's obviously it's a foreign object in your eye.
It's stuck forever if you don't.
Yeah,
I thought that was all computer.
No, it's their lenses. Yeah, their lenses.
What's it like to see through those?
It's like being drunk. Like it's like the tunnel vision. Because I mean, that's a funny story. When I first met Henry, we both had our black lenses in. I was having my screen test, and he was in after me. And yeah, walked down the corridor, and we kind of could make each other out. Like, I was like, okay, that's Henry. And then he came back and he was like, Paul Lambert? I was like, yeah. We met. And we had a chat, and he was like, how are the lenses? I went, yeah, it's all right. He goes, bit of double vision, tunnel vision. I went, yeah. And he went, great. Yeah, that's it. That's what you should be experiencing. But no, they look epic, don't they?
They do.
So yeah,
and you have a pretty cool shot too, I think, where it shows you drinking it, and then we get to see your eyes become it.
Oh yeah, the transformation, with the potion. Yeah, that was again great work from the CGI team. You know, they'll come to me and they'll tell me what they need in terms of how long do you need my eyes closed for? You know, where do you need where you know, what do you need from me, basically, in terms of making your job easier as a CGI, expert. And then they can tell me what they, where they need my eyes pointing, how long they need my eyes closed for, all that business. Like, they really are artists.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes, when all the Witchers are gearing up to go out and go for the That was just amazing.
Grab an axe, grab a sword, get my eyes going.
Yeah, do some potions.
It's like in the locker room before the game. It's like...
Yeah. Take some Gatorade.
Something in that Gatorade, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. What are they putting in it?
Yeah. What were some things that you loved about Lambert?
I liked how kind of petty he was out of a place of insecurity. I made sure that everything he did was out of like insecurity, or like he had a fear of like making genuine connections. So like he'd pick on Triss,
right?
Because he fancies her. Right. So like he'd be like he'd talk to Triss like a 5-year-old child on a playground. Like you're teasing somebody because really like you don't know what else to do because you like them, so you're just going to be a bit nasty to them. And yeah, that's what I love all that. And he always tries to crush like any kind of like real genuine connection with either humor or just like batting someone down, which is what I like about him. But I also like the fact he's all that said and done, he's fiercely loyal. He's he's really loyal, and you see that. Like, that's why, Geralt wouldn't, like, he's not let anything slide with anyone the whole, 16 episodes that they've done now. But, Lambert can threaten him and he gets away with it. Because Geralt knows, like, he knows he's like that. He's kind of like, in terms of like when he's chatting to his Witcher brothers, Lambert is all bark, really. Right. Because he loves underneath all of that. He loves his Witcher brothers. So I do love that about him. I do love that kind of childish kind of. He's not. I suppose he's a bit emotionally immature, isn't he? Like he has all these feelings, he has all these emotions, but he just doesn't know how to articulate them properly, and I like that.
Yeah. That's cool. And we love that aspect of this season. We're big fans of the show The Last Kingdom, which has a lot of brotherly moments in it. And that's like what we got this season from The Witcher, was this new cohort of brothers, the Witchers. And that was really cool to see play out.
Did you guys do anything to start building that camaraderie for your characters or anything?
Yeah, I mean, like pre-pandemic, me and Yas, we knew we had quite a bit together, so we met in town and we went through the scripts. We met in this place that we know in town, and we just went through the scripts and we spoke about, in depth, a little bit of kind of subplot around our characters, just to help us. I'd play music with Basil that played Eskel.
Yeah, we just saw the video of Burn Butcher.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of. That's it. Yeah. There's a lot of musicians in the cast, so some bonding sessions, just like kind of jamming. But in terms of like when we're actually filming, it's very difficult because you have to be safe and responsible. and Netflix put everything in place to make sure that we were safe and responsible. So yeah, I wish I could say that there were like nights where we went to there's this amazing pub just over the road from the studios, like, and it was closed because of the pandemic. I was just thinking, in normal times, wouldn't it have been great to just rock up at the end of a filming day and just have a few drinks with the other witchers and the other castmates? But alas, that was not to happen. We were, you know, masked up and put into our cars and driven to our separate places, you know, but you know, the bigger thing was getting the series done. So hopefully in the future there'll be some more of that. But on set, yeah, we would crack jokes. We'd always try and make each other laugh, and you know, and that was what kind of fed into that camaraderie, I think.
Yeah, well, we were really glad you didn't get your head bitten off by a basilisk. So hopefully you'll be back for season 3. If there's a season 3, that would be great.
Well, we keep season 3's been announced. That's season 3. And that, you know, in terms of Lambert moving forward, I mean, it's no secret I'm committed to being Lambert, and I really do love the character. So in the future years, future seasons, however they want to use me, I'm up for it. I'm not going to be like shying away from it at all.
I was worried at that end battle though. After Esco got killed off, I was like, do not kill off Lambert here at the end, man.
I think that's what's so good about like, I know Esco is a popular character. I know he's a popular character, but at the same time, it does keep the audience guessing, because they've done that, and so like you're going, okay, well, anything can happen. No one's safe, and that's why it keeps me on my toes. Whenever I got a rewrite through, I'll be going through like, oh my god,
holding your breath,
making sure I'm still alive.
I hope Tom Hardy doesn't shoot me this.
I found out I was dying in that at the read-through for Peaky Blinders. I was at my read-through, and Paul Anderson, that plays Arthur Shelby, he was like, "Oh, episode 5, it's going to be so much fun to film episode 5." And I went, "Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I've only got up to episode 4." And he went, God. Give it a read. And then I was like, please say Billy's the name of the goat. I was like, no. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gone. So but in terms of Witcher, moving forward, like, I mean, you know, I think, you know, I respect the decisions of the writers and the creators. I think it's a good thing. I just think, you know, it doesn't matter how much of an expert you are, and I respect people's opinions, and I love their passion for the show. I just think, like, me personally, if there was something that I was an expert about and I was watching a TV adaptation, I'd kind of like to see it with fresh eyes. And I'd like to, you know, kind of understand the world, but also not know what's going to happen. And I think they're being respectful to the source material, but also giving something fresh, which I think is important.
I think so too. And now you did a couple episodes with the director Sarah Gorman, who we had on the podcast. Could you talk a little bit about working with her?
Oh, I love Sarah. Sarah's brilliant. She so I worked with Sarah for Block 2. So she was in charge of the whole training series sequence. So yeah, there was a lot of work with Sarah. She's brilliant. She's very much, I describe her as an actor's director. So she arranged for me to go to the studio once I'd finished Block 1 and established my character. She just wanted to meet for a coffee at the studio to talk about where I see Lambert moving in the next block and what his motivation would be when he's, you know, taking Siri through this training, and that's really helpful for an actor. And you know, I think Sarah's work speaks for itself. I think she did a fantastic job steering the ship for the episode she was in charge of. So yeah, a lot of time for her, a lot of time. She's a very passionate, very talented lady. So yeah.
Is there any other big goals that you have for your career going forward too, as far as any projects, dream projects, or things you want to do?
I would like to join the superhero universe, either DC or Marvel. I'm kind of steering more towards villains.
Who do you want?
I said on a previous podcast, I know it'd be interesting to see the reboot of the Batman, but I'd love to try my hand at Riddler.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure it's been absolutely nailed in the remake. But so
this new one, I'm so excited to see this new one.
So it looks great. And I mean, Marvel wise, like again, like he's had the part on lockdown and he's absolutely nailed it for the time that he's been doing it. But yeah, Thor at some point.
I think Thor is a redhead from Norse mythology, right?
Yeah,
I think so. In Norse mythology, he's a big guy, redhead. That's good.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I think a better question would be, what superhero do you want to kill the most? Batman, I guess.
Superman. Say Superman.
Say Superman, please.
Yeah, let's say it. Yeah, Superman. Let's go toe to toe with Superman. Let's do it. Yeah. So, but like, yeah, in terms of career wise, I would like to go back and do maybe a limited run in a play in a theatre. I haven't done theatre now for about 5 years, but I just want to kind of more prove to myself that I can still do it because you've got nothing to hide behind on stage. So I'd like to, dip my toe into that again. But yeah, apart from that, I just want to try many different things. Maybe a bit of sci-fi. But just different genres. And keep things fresh, And
what kind of things do you want to come from your character, Lambert? Is there anything specific you hope happens for him?
I'd like to explore. I mean, obviously, we'll see what the writers have in store in the years to come, but in the series to come as well. I'd like to see his kind of more vulnerable side being exposed. Yeah. So whether that is like he talks about why he didn't choose to be a Witcher, or why he doesn't like being a Witcher, and talk about maybe his origins a bit more, his backstory, and I quite like that for him to maybe convey why he behaves the way he behaves. I think that'd be quite nice to see that vulnerability in him, just so he's not always just ripping someone down. Yeah.
That's awesome.
As fun as it is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure talking with you and learning more about Lambert and your time on the show.
Well, it's been great. It's been great chatting about sport as well. And make a separate podcast just talking about the NFL.
I know. We could do that all day too.
A branch for a new podcast for us. That's great. Yeah, you got to come over and get to a game sometime.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And keep in touch, and I'll come on the podcast again in the future.
Hey, that would be great. We'd love to have you again, Paul.
You have anything to say for the fans too?
Oh yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching The Witcher and making it the success it is, and supporting the show. It's been lovely, and I can't respond to everybody on social media because I don't see everything that's written on there. But when I do, I try and respond. And I just want to say thank you so much for the support you've shown for Lambert and for the series. It's very, really humbling. So thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Thanks for being on, Paul, and fans out there. Make sure you check out his links to social media and below. Make sure you follow so you can stay up to date with what he's doing. And otherwise, have a good day and goodbye.
Fantastic. All the best. Cool.